Eversolo has quickly become a popular streamer brand. Now they introduced the T8, a digital transport, a streamer with only digital outputs that requires an external DAC. Like any networked audio player, the T8 needs an internet connection via your modem or router. This can be over Ethernet, Wi-Fi or Fibre. Once connected, it can play from internet radio and services like Tidal, Qobuz, Spotify and more. Music stored on a computer or NAS can also be accessed. Since the T8 has no internal DAC, it must be connected to one of your choice via one of its 5 digital outputs. The DAC then connects to the amplifier with RCA or XLR interconnects, and the amp drives the speakers. The T8 can be operated with the supplied remote control or the Eversolo app on a smartphone or tablet. Because it has an integrated digital volume control, you can use it with a power amplifier instead of an integrated amp, or even with active speakers that have digital inputs. It also accepts USB drives with music or firmware updates, and it can host digital sources such as an optical USB drive for playing or even ripping CDs, or one of those turntables with USB output. The T8 comes in a black full metal chassis measuring 315 by 230 by 88 mm and weighs 5.5 kilos. The front panel has 7 touch-sensitive icons: standby, play pause, skip forward, skip back, display mode, home and return. At the center is a 6-inch full-color touchscreen. The rear panel holds the power switch, fuse holder and IEC inlet. Next to it the SFP cage, where an SFP module is inserted for fiber network use. A gigabit Ethernet connection is available via RJ45. 2 USB 3 ports accept external storage or digital sources. The USB DAC output is galvanically isolated. Digital outputs include AES-EBU on XLR, optical via Toslink, and coaxial SPDIF on RCA, also galvanically isolated. I2S is provided on HDMI, which requires a DAC with matching support. Since there is no standard pinout for I2S on HDMI, the T8 allows you to set the correct scheme for your DAC. Finally, 2 3.5mm jacks handle trigger inputs and outputs for system integration. A 3.5mm cable is included. As a pure transport, the T8 has no analog circuitry. Much of the internal space is devoted to power supplies. The small switch mode power supply handles standby, allowing the main linear power supply to be completely shut down when not in use. The linear supply has a toroidal transformer wound with 4N oxygen-free copper, with rectification, regulation and external smoothing. 6 6800 microfarad capacitors do the smoothing, and 18 1000 microfarad electrolytic capacitors do the buffering. Processing is handled by a quad-core ARM chip with 4GB DDR RAM and 64GB eMMC storage. High-quality AccuSilicon AS318B clock crystals provide precise timing, one for 44.1 kHz multiples, one for 48 kHz multiples. Both the RJ45 Ethernet port and the USB audio port are galvanically isolated, as are the AS3 outputs. On the bottom, a small latch gives easy access for installing up to 2 8TB M.2 SSDs for local storage. Using Fibre adds galvanic isolation, which can improve the sound quality. To use it, an SFP module, small form factor pluggable, must be inserted into the T8 and your switch. The fiber cables connect the modules. With a bidirectional SFP, one cable is enough. With duplex SFPs, two fibers are required, crossed between the devices. If your switch has no SFP cage, you can use a media converter to bridge Ethernet to fiber. However, quality varies. Cheap converters often perform poorly for audio, even with upgraded power supplies. In my testing, a €25 converter was no match for the €599 Sonori optical module. The choice of SFP module also matters. I had good results with the Finisar FTLF 8519P 3 BTL modules and multi-mode OM1 fiber. You can download the free app from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. I used the iPad Pro 2. After starting up the app, you will see only the Add Device tile, but since I use the Eversolo DMP-A6 Master Edition, that's what's shown here. Simply tap the plus on the Add Device tile, select the T-Series, tap the T8, and tap the Next button. The T8 is now added. Now select the T8 by tapping on it. You get instructions on how to proceed. Let me show you how to add a library. As you can see, I have already added two libraries. One on a 2TB internal M.2 SSD I added, and one on the Sonic Transporter i7 CDR music server. Adding is really simple. Just tap the plus and you get a list of possible libraries. You most likely see one or two options here, unless you are a crazy reviewer who wants to try it all. Just select one and the T8 starts indexing the music automatically. If you go to Artists, you'll see all artists, and when you select one, you see their albums. Since I have two libraries active, you see an album shown twice. When an album is chosen, you see the tracks, in this case only one. The same way you can browse composers. Let's pick Britain. The albums with his work are shown. You can of course browse albums, genres and periods. When we go to streaming services, we can deselect services you don't want to use to clean up the menu. The T8 supports many streaming services, and now only the ones I use are represented in the menu, like Tidal and Qobuz. There also is support for UPnP, WebDAV, Dropbox, MB, Jellyfin, Plex, Tidal Connect, Qobuz Connect, Spotify Connect, AirPlay, and Roon. Again here, the options are plenty. Let's start with the outputs. I2S has several pinout schemes that can be set by comparing them with the scheme of your DAC. You can also set the maximum sampling rate for PCM and DSD. For the AES3 group of outputs, the maximum sample rate, DOP, and conversion to PCM can be set, as well as a sample rate switch latency. The USB output settings can be made to match the USB DAC. Here the AudioQuest, but for other DACs this can be different. Other settings can be made, like bypassing the volume control, the screensavers option, the type of metering, and the type of spectrometer. The number of languages supported is impressive too. If you want the sound character changed or problem frequency filtered out, the T8 has sufficient filters and EQs to do that. There's a 10-band graphical equalizer and a parametric equalizer that lets you set frequency, gain and Q factor for 10 frequencies. You can set a low-pass filter or have the highs roll-off, and there's a simple room correction program built in. To use it, you make a new EQ configuration file. I named it Room Correction. Then open it and select Correction. Then you select the microphone you want to use, Since there is no microphone connected, it automatically selected the microphone of your smartphone or tablet the app runs on. Now go to the following screen, press play sound and adjust the volume so that the level is between -60 and -20 dB on the on-screen level meter. Then tap next again. The app will now start a frequency sweep from very low to very high. You won't hear the lows because of the simple loudspeakers I used for this video. When both channels are measured, the results will be displayed. Tap Design and, on a new screen, the measured curves, the target curves, the EQ curves and the predicted curves are shown. Press Apply to Configuration and you're set. Do realize that, also when using a measurement microphone, only one measurement is used, meaning that only amplitude corrections for one location are made. Phase corrections are not made. The T8 was connected over the Network Acoustics Eno 2 system Ethernet filter to the Zixel GS1900-10 HP switch. Also connected to the Zixel switch was the Zixel T56 modem router, which was connected to the 1 gigabit Odido glass fiber internet connection via a Nokia media converter. The small green computer Sonic transporter i7 CDR was connected to the Zixel switch via a patch cable and is running Roon server, Minim server and Audivana core server. The Holo Audio Cyan 2 DAC was connected to the T8 via a short 4K UHD Twilzo HDMI cable. Between the Cyan 2 and the Air Acoustics AX520 amplifier, a pair of Grim Audio SQM XLR cables provided the analog connection. The PMC FAC12 signature loudspeakers on Stack Audio OVA 17 isolators were connected via the AudioQuest Robinhood Zero speaker cable. The iPad Pro 2 was used to control the music server software on the Sonic transporter. I then replaced the Ethernet connection with Fibre connection using the SFP modules and Fibre described earlier. Then I switched the I2S connection for the AS-EBU connection using the Network Acoustics Eno AS-EBU cable. I finally switched to a USB connection using the AudioQuest Diamond USB-A to USB-B cable. I have used Tidal Connect and Cobus Connect, played from the storage media mentioned, but mainly used Roon as source. Using Ethernet and I2S, the sound was on par with other streaming transporters in this class. Lows are open, mids and highs clean. The same goes for the stereo image and sibilance. When I switched to the Fibre connection, the image opened a bit more and sibilance got near to perfect. The switch from I2S to AS-EBU didn't seem to change the sound, but when switching to USB, the overall sound was less involving, less musical. So my advice would be to use Fibre for network and I2S for connection to the DAC. I then scaled this setup to a lower end setup 1B, whereas the price would have suggested it to be in the higher regions of my setup 2. The people of Eversolo must have a very long list of boxes to tick. Whether you look at the outputs, the streaming services, the supported file formats, the music cloud drivers or EQs, often too many bells and whistles get in the way of sound quality. I have the impression that it is not the case here. It makes the T8 extremely versatile and ideal for equipment lovers. The opposite is the Magna Mano Ultra MK3.5 Farad running Gentoo Player software, which will set you back €200 more, has no display, far fewer features and no SFP cage, but is again one step higher in sound quality. When dealer configured, it might be a better choice for those that love playing music but hate equipment. Which brings us to the end of this video. A new one is coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe. Or follow me on Patreon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram or TikTok. Patreon and YouTube Premium members get early access and no ads. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it, it really helps. A huge thank you to everyone who supports the channel financially. It keeps me independent and that means a lot. Even €1, pound or dollar makes a difference. It's easily done using the QR code on screen or the links in the description. I'm Hans Beekhuizen, thank you for watching and whatever you do, enjoy the music.